I love beans, particularly cannellini beans. They're the white kidney beans, and they're kind of creamy and a little bit sweet, and they make a perfect foil for all sorts of grilled steaks, braised lamb, chicken breasts, fish. It's a great side dish. It's kind of an interesting thing. Instead of just serving potatoes or boring old rice, you can serve beans as a side, and it's a really satisfying and hearty sort of side, and you can really add a lot of flavors and change them up a lot. So I'm going to show you my very favorite beans today. I usually serve them with some lamb steaks that I've rubbed in rosemary and garlic and grilled up, but they can go with any sort of thing. So what it starts out with is I have 2 slices of bacon that I've cut into small dice, which is 16-inch cubes. You can just chop it up if you want. And I'm putting it into this Dutch oven, and I'm going to let it start browning, and also I want it to render some of the fat, because we're going to use some of the fat to caramelize some shallots in a minute. So I just want to get the bacon started first, then I'll add in the shallots, let those start to sweeten and get caramelized, and then we'll start adding in all of the other components. Turn down the heat so it renders just a little bit. You don't want to cook bacon too high because it'll burn quickly without all of that fat rendering, so then you'll have this kind of burned, chewy, rubbery bacon, and what I'm looking for is the fat to render in the bottom and the rest of the bacon to get brown and crisp and nice, not burned. So this will take a few minutes. Okay, my bacon's started to render. You can see it's smoking a little bit. I'm going to add in my shallots. Now this is 2 shallots that I've just sliced. I didn't mince them up because I kind of like having them in there a little bit bigger. And we're going to let these beans simmer. The nice thing about these beans is I'm using pre-cooked beans already, but they're hearty enough so that you can simmer them on low for an hour, or you can just kind of let them hang out for 20 minutes and they'll still be pretty good. Because they're pre-cooked. And throw in the shallots, and I'm also going to throw in a teaspoon of sugar. I think this helps the shallots caramelize a little bit more quickly. I just like that added sweetness with the bacon, with the allium, the shallot, which is an allium, and I think it just makes kind of a nice addition to the dish. So now we're going to let these hang out for a little bit. The shallots get sort of golden and caramelly looking. And when that happens, then we're going to throw in some garlic and keep on going. My shallots are starting to get golden and kind of sweet. The pan's getting a little bit hot, so I want to keep adding more stuff now. I'm adding 2 cloves of minced garlic, and I'm just going to let those hit the heat with those shallots for about 30 seconds. Not too long. I want to get the aroma of this. We're building flavor. We've got the bacon, which is smoky. We've got the shallots, which are a little bit sweet but also pungent. And then we have the garlic, which is very pungent. And then once that gets going, you just hit that aroma. Then I'm going to throw in about 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup of white wine. This is a blend. It's going to bubble up a little bit because that pan's hot. I'm scraping up all of the browned bits from the bottom, which is called deglazing, and I'm just going to add a little bit more of that. It'll also cool the pan down just a little bit. Now I'm going to add, I'm going to shake in about, I'm going to say 1.5 teaspoons of herbes de Provence, which is usually, it's a combination you can buy in the store. This has tarragon, often a little bit of lavender, sometimes marjoram and savory, a little bit of rosemary. It tends to vary on the blend, but there's almost always those herbs in it. And they're very aromatic, and they add a very, French flavor to a dish, but it can go with sort of any style of food, so you don't have to have a purely French style meat course or vegetable course to go with these beans. They're pretty versatile. Okay, herbes de Provence and wine are in there. Now I'm going to throw in my beans, these are pre-cooked. It's 2 cans of cannellini beans, which are a white kidney bean. It's 2 15-ounce cans. I drained them and rinsed them of all of their canning juices, and I'm just going to dump them in. You can, of course, cook your own beans at home, soak them, cook them up, store them, and then do this dish. That's perfectly fine. But this is just kind of like a quick, you can do this on a weeknight really easily, but I often do it on a Sunday because I can just throw it together and let it hang out for a while. Alright, beans are in there. I'm going to throw in one 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes. I've drained off some of their juices, but there's still some of the juice in there. These are nice organic tomatoes that I really like. Stir those in with the beans. And then we're going to add chicken stock. Not to completely cover, but just to kind of going to braise the beans a little bit. So I'm going to add in about 1.5 cups to 2 cups. Really, I'm just looking for it to come up just to the level of the beans where you still got beans sticking out, but they're not completely submerged. I'm going to throw in 2 bay leaves. You can probably get by with 1 bay leaf. I have these from a tree and they're a little bit mild, and so I'm going to use 2 of them. And then that's all you do. You let these hang out and sit. Actually, that's not all you do. Throw in some salt. The beans are cooked. You can throw in some salt. And let these just chill out over sort of a medium-low flame. Let them bubble. I usually put a lid on, sort of partially covered. And I keep the chicken stock handy because sometimes the pan will start to get dry and I'll want to shake in a little bit more stock and stir it up. And what'll happen is the beans will start to collapse a little bit. If you leave them for a really long time, like 1.5 hours or so, they'll almost look like refried beans. I usually like to take them off the heat a little bit before that because I like to have the shape of the beans in there. I'll show you what that looks like in a little bit. Okay, my beans have been simmering for about 20 minutes and the juices have thickened a little bit. I've added a little extra stock to loosen it, but they're still retaining their texture. And I'm just going to show you what they look like. They're just kind of juicy, delicious, savory beans. And you can take them down and so that there's even less liquid if you prefer, but this is what they look like. Put a little piece of fish, a little grilled salmon or something on top of that. Awesome meal. Definitely worth a shot, really easy. And the nice thing about it is that, let's say you let them simmer for 20 minutes and then dinner is delayed, you can keep them simmering for up to an hour and they'll be just fine. They'll be delicious. So it's not like there's a static time that you have to be done, and they're really flexible and easy. So worth a shot.